On today's broadcast, the Park Geun-hye administration is facing blame for not having enough money to keep the president's campaign pledges. The government comes up with its 5-year plan to deal with North Korea, and Samsung Electronics says it will soon introduce a curved screen smartphone. This is KBS World Radio News. I'm Bruce Harrison. The government will reveal its basic pension program for the elderly on Thursday and likely face criticism for not providing seniors the money the president promised. Sources in the political circles said Wednesday the government's pension plan will fall short of President Park Geun-hye's campaign promise of 200,000 won for every senior citizen. The sources say the plan will provide between 100,000 and 200,000 won a month from next July to people 65 and older with an income in the bottom 70% of their age group. The pension size will vary, with a minimum 100,000 won guaranteed in accordance with how long a person has subscribed to the existing national pension program. More than 90% of eligible seniors are expected to receive 200,000 won a month. The presidential office says President Park will chair a cabinet meeting Thursday and address the pension coverage issue. If the plan is introduced next July, roughly 39.6 trillion won is expected to be required through 2017. The head of the main opposition Democratic Party has criticized the government's basic pension fund program, which is expected to fall short of President Park's campaign pledge. During his visit to Seongnam City Hall Wednesday, party chairman Kim Han-gil said the people feel betrayed due to the president's continued failure to keep her campaign promises. Kim said he will not allow President Park to throw away her pledges as if they were a pair of old shoes. Kim said his party is enraged by the president's breach of promise to provide a monthly basic pension benefit worth 200,000 won to every senior citizen. He said the elderly made great sacrifices for the democratization of the country several decades ago. Civic and labor organizations also condemned the administration for failing to follow through with its campaign promise. People's Solidarity for Participatory Democracy, Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, and roughly 20 other organizations denounced the government at a meeting Wednesday for failing to keep the promise. Health and Welfare Minister Chin Young has reaffirmed he will resign. Chin returned home early Wednesday from Saudi Arabia, where he discussed exports of medical systems. He told reporters at Incheon International Airport he had been feeling helpless as health minister and had considered resigning for some time. Chin flatly denied rumors he was stepping down to take responsibility for failing to fulfill the government's welfare pledges and to prepare to run for Seoul mayor next year. Chin did not say when he plans to tell the presidential office he intends to step down. The government has introduced a 5-year plan for unification of the two Koreas. Unification Minister Ryu Kil-jae finalized the government's basic unification plan on Wednesday in a meeting of the ministry's Advisory Council on Inter-Korean Relations. With an aim to establish peace on the Korean peninsula and lay the foundation for unification, the plan presented the goals of improving inter-Korean relations through the Korean Peninsula trust-building process and making substantial preparations for unification. The government also detailed 4 basic tenets: the balanced pursuit of national security and inter-Korean exchanges, fostering an environment to bring changes to the North, making substantial phased preparations for unification, and North Korea policies that can contribute to regional prosperity and world peace. As 10 key tasks, the government will work to fix human rights violations in North Korea, expand reciprocal exchanges and cooperation across the border, achieve the constructive normalization of the Kaesong industrial complex, and bring sustainable peace to the peninsula. Unification Minister Yoo Kil-jae has reiterated South Korea will not accept North Korea's call for the swift, unconditional resumption of six-party nuclear dialogue. He said South Korea and the U.S.'s emphasis on North Korea's actions toward denuclearization are not to make the six-way talks more difficult to resume, but to foster conditions for practical progress in the dialogue. Our Kim So-yeon reports.
Seoul's Unification Minister Yoo Kil-jae says the main agenda is not the six-party talks or its agreements, but rather the implementation and substantial progress in resolving the North Korean nuclear problem. Yoo spoke at a conference hosted by the Asan Institute for Policy Studies on Wednesday. He said that demanding North Korea's commitment to denuclearization is not aimed at making the dialogue any more difficult, but to foster an environment where the talks can actually move forward. The minister reaffirmed North Korea's call for the resumption of the talks is unacceptable, saying Pyongyang broke promises reached through the dialogue. Citing accords North Korea has broken since 2005, Yoo said it is difficult to trust Pyongyang solely based on its words, that its policy goal is denuclearization. He said the North claims it is a nuclear state while reversing agreements it guaranteed with other members of the nuclear dialogue. The minister said North Korea appears to pursue national security and economic revival side by side based on its nuclear arms. But Yoo said North Korea should realize no matter how grand its plans are, they will not come to fruition if the country continues nuclear development and isolates itself from the world. Yoo said if the North demonstrates change and works to build trust, South Korea and the international community will help it develop. But he said if it refuses to change, inter-Korean relations will be limited and assistance from the international community unlikely. While pressing the North, the minister added that South Korea does not wish for a regime collapse in the North. He said the South Korean government wants to first achieve smaller unification, such as integrating the two sides' economies, and move on to a political merger in phases. Kim So-yeon, KBS World Radio News.
President Park Geun-hye has named Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Chae Yoon-hee the new head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Park carried out the reshuffle on Wednesday, marking the first time for a Navy official to lead the JCS since the establishment of South Korea's military. The president named South Korea-U.S. Combined Forces Command Deputy Commander General Kwon Oh-sung the new Army Chief of Staff. She also named Korea Naval Academy Superintendent Vice Admiral Hwang Ki-chol as Chae's successor. The government has revealed a third set of measures to boost investment, including building 9 high-tech industrial complexes. The government said at a trade and investment promotion meeting Wednesday that the key to the latest measures is designating 3 places next year and 6 more the year after as urban high-tech industrial clusters. Potential sites for designation by 2015 include newly established cities, empty factory lots, or areas around big cities where green belt restrictions have been lifted. The government will also provide incentives to encourage the remodeling of 25 outdated industrial clusters built over 30 years ago. Environmental regulations will be streamlined by eliminating overlapping ones. Beginning with sectors that have a larger environmental impact, businesses will be encouraged to expand annual investment by 330 billion won to invest in green technology and facilities. Samsung Electronics says it will release the world's first smartphone with a curved display next month. Samsung Electronics President Lee Dong-ju made the announcement at a ceremony celebrating the launch of the Galaxy Note 3 and Galaxy Gear in Seoul on Wednesday. He said his company will introduce a curved screen smartphone as part of its efforts to lead innovation and maintain its global supremacy in the industry. Samsung SDI also said it already has the technology to produce bendable batteries and will introduce a smartphone with those batteries in the 4th quarter. The curved display is a step towards developing a bendable display in screen evolution. Handset makers are in fierce competition to develop and mass-produce flexible display smartphones. LG Electronics says it will introduce a plastic organic light-emitting display smartphone this year, and Apple has applied for a patent for its curved display design. Among various beef brands of Korean indigenous cattle known as Hanwoo, the Hwangsong County label has been named the most trusted by consumers for the 6th straight year. Hwangsong County in Gangwon Province said Wednesday that Hwangsong Hanwoo won the top award in the livestock goods category in an evaluation of leading brands trusted by consumers. The evaluation was organized by the Korea Brand Management Association. The head of Hwangsong County, Go Sok-kyung, will receive the award during a ceremony at a hotel in Seoul on Friday. Leading brands were selected by a panel of judges comprising academics and brand experts and based on surveys carried out by consumer research agencies. Hwangsong Hanwoo will be able to use the logo of the top award for a year in various promotional activities. South Korea will host a global education conference organized by UNESCO in 2015. Seoul's Vice Education Minister Na Sung-il announced the conference in New Jersey on Tuesday while visiting the U.S. to attend the Learning for All ministerial meeting. The Vice Minister said the 2015 World Conference on Education for All will examine the achievements of UNESCO's worldwide drive that promotes the spread of basic education. South Korea's benchmark KOSPI on Wednesday dropped 9.04 points, or 0.45%, closing at 1,998.06. The tech-heavy Kosdaq edged down 0.02 points to end at 527.27. On the Seoul Foreign Exchange Market, the local currency lost 4.5 won against the dollar to close at 1,007.7 won. And that's the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul.